Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk about how we get completely spun up and we react to the things that our narcissistic ex does. It's really kind of an odd thing because we get so hyper-vigilant, hypersensitive about everything surrounding the ex, everything that they're doing, they might be doing, that they're thinking of, and we get so fixated on it. Now the crazy part is most of the time we feel, I think often most of the time, we feel that our exes are not even thinking about us, that they're just, not even wasting their time. But then it goes back and forth because then they'll do something to get our attention or make it look like they're taking their finger and going boop right in our eyes. And then we get caught up back in that loop again. And the really interesting part about this is how a target of narcissistic abuse will constantly be thinking or asking themselves the question, why? Why did this happen? How did this happen? What did I do so wrong? What's going on? Who's influencing them? It's just the laundry list of questions goes on and on and on. Now, the tough part about this is that instead of being able to move on with our lives and start living our lives, we get stuck in this mode to where we're just constantly reliving the trauma, constantly reliving and second guessing what happened, what our role was in it, what we could have done differently. Is it real? Is this really real? Or is this something that we're making up just to wrap our heads around it? You can really spend your time driving yourself completely crazy trying to analyze what happened. What went wrong? What can you do to make it better? Now, slowly with time, you start to realize that there's nothing you could have done. That somebody like this, even if you would have appeased them and done everything that they wanted to do, it still wouldn't have been enough. Let that sink in for a minute. It would not have been enough. You could have bent over backwards, given them everything they wanted, and maybe the scenario might have played out longer. Maybe it wouldn't have exploded when it did, but it was doomed for failure from the beginning. Now, I know that may sound defeatist, and I'm not trying to poke you in the eye or diminish anything that you've been through. It's just a reality of these particular type of situations. We're not talking about normal situations. We're not talking about normal relationships with normal people who have normal communication capabilities and can actually connect even a little bit with their emotions. When you're dealing with someone toxic, unfortunately they can't do it. They can mimic it, they can pretend, they can act, they can mirror back to you what you're expecting or wanting them to do, but it's not really them. The problem is with that is that means when you're chasing that solution or that fantasy, you can try everything you can try everything that you try is going to drive you more and more into confusion, stress, anxiety, walking on eggshells, that's funny, and not really accomplishing what you're hoping to accomplish. You're chasing something that is not attainable. When you were with a toxic, self-centered, narcissistic person, there is no making headway with them. There is no aha moment with them. There is no, oh my God, you're so important, let me really work on the relationship to make it better. It doesn't happen. What you'll see is they may say those things to you. You should work on the relationship. You should make it better. But again, it's one of those things that's unattainable. You're trying for something that is, it's like you're destined to lose. The rules and everything are stacked against you from the beginning. Again, I know that could be like focusing on the target status of all this, and you were a target, just to make that clear. But the hard part is that you get stuck wanting that illusion that happened before. You want that fantasy that you thought was real to, in fact, be real. It's really tough to finally see reality. It's really tough to take a step back, get yourself away from the fantasy, and to accept, oh my God, this was a train wreck. There's a term that we use at work. It's kind of like, it's called sunk cost. It's like once you buy into something and you start doing it, there's a period of time where you're just throwing money away. It's like maybe you put a ton of money or effort, like a relationship, into it, but at some point it's diminishing return, and you really have to take a step back and say, okay, well, is this worth it? Is there anything that I can get out of this that's worth putting the effort into it? And I know that can seem kind of like a triggering comment whenever it's like, well, wait a minute, of course it's worth it to put into a relationship. That's what you're supposed to do. And rightfully so. You're supposed to put work into a relationship, work into a marriage, work into that type of cooperative environment. But if you're dealing with somebody that does not reciprocate, then you really have to take a step back and take a hard look at it. Now, this is incredibly tough whenever you're feeling a tremendous amount of pain. You want the pain to go away, and in the mind you're thinking the easiest way for this pain to go away would be just if everything would get fixed and I could just go back to the relationship. I get it. I mean, I understand it. I felt the same way. The problem is that as you're going through that, your brain is also telling you the reality. Like, oh my God, this is not good. This is bad. This is dangerous. This isn't healthy for you. And then you have the other part of your mind just saying, no, it's I'm just blowing it out of proportion. It's really not that bad. I mean, it's that dichotomy and that struggle internally that really tears you apart. But at the end of the day, you have to look at your situation clearly. You have to look at it with open eyes, with an open mind, with reality as your focus, so that you are looking at something that is real, not something that you want or not an illusion. There was a comment that was made earlier in another video where somebody was talking or referenced the movie The Matrix, about being plugged into the Matrix. And this reminds me of the character Cypher in that movie, who has escaped the Matrix, has realized, holy crap, I don't like the reality. I want to go back in and I want to live my illusion. If you've seen the movie, then you remember the part where Cypher is talking to the agents, basically saying, look, plug me back in. I'll give up, everything you want. I'll give up to you. Just put me back in the machine. Make me forget everything. Make my life good again. And let me just pretend that this was a nightmare that I don't have to remember anymore. I think a lot of us go through a situation, let me move this a little bit. A lot of us go through a situation to where we do just that, where we are looking at our situations going, oh my God, I don't want this to be real. I don't want the alienation from my friends and family. I don't want the smear campaign that's going on. I just want it to go away. I just want things to go back to normal. I want us to pretend to be a happy family again. Let's just get back to that point. The problem is with the toxic person, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to convince them to change or to be better. And if you do go down that road, if for some reason they think, okay, you still are a suitable source of supply, and they do that, I guarantee you it will be worse the second time around. Because what you have demonstrated is that you have even less value, less backbone, less ability to stand up to anything, which means they will walk all over you more, push your buttons more, and just test to see what they can get away with. If you're in the midst of this, You owe it to yourself to work through this pain, this struggle that you're in. It hurts. It's not any fun. I absolutely understand that. But on the other side of this, you regain who you really are. You have better boundaries. You have better respect for yourself. And the best part about this is a toxic person doesn't have the ability, once you've mastered all these skills, doesn't have the ability to torment you anymore. Now, your current narcissistic ex, especially if you have kids involved, yeah, that's going to be an ongoing thing. But you don't want to do this again. You do not want to put yourself in a situation where you do it again. You want to be able to be okay by yourself. You want to be able to say, you know what? That behavior is absolutely unacceptable. I am not going to deal with it. I am not going to allow that in my life. I'm not going to allow myself to be treated that way. And if the person doing that isn't able to see that and make changes, then they do not deserve to be in your life. I know all these messages and all this stuff is hard. I know that it's not what you really want to hear. I know sometimes you just need validations that the hard decisions you're making are the right ones. And typically the hard ones are the right ones. So if you're struggling with this, I'd love to hear your comments below on how you're dealing with it, hopefully. And if you're stuck, I'd like to hear that as well. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel and I think it's helping you, please consider subscribing. Ring the bell notification so that YouTube will tell you about new videos. And I will catch you on the next video. Take care.